it is.
Here it is.
TTArtisan,
Yes.
a Chinese company, somebody said on the comments.
Okay.
Have asked us, because they seen our YouTube, and they said it's the best YouTube on YouTube, channel on YouTube.
Did they actually say
They
that?
said that. They've
Did
said,
they?
the good thing is that, yeah, a camera lens company have asked us to do a review, which is great.
Which is great. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Do appreciate it.
Yeah, well, and we've loved reviewing this little lens because it's something we're not used to, actually, isn't it? I think. A little pancake manual lens, 50mm f2. The construction's really nice, actually.
Z-mount.
I mean,
Yeah, I love, as I said before, I love the clicky aperture ring.
yeah, that is really nice touch.
Manual focus,
Yeah,
but it's got the hyperfocal marking, so you can use it for zone focusing, which is good for the street.
yeah. Because I've got the Z8, I've been using that now. It feels, that's fully electronic, and sometimes you don't feel like I'm a photographer at all using that.
No.
And now you can even have auto capture on some of the Z9 where you just only need to press a button.
Yeah.
So with this is the opposite, isn't it?
Takes you back.
It takes you back. It's fully immersive with the art of photography. So let's run through its paces. So I've compared it to the 51.8S,
Yeah.
and obviously it's a different breed of lens.
Which you could probably buy nearly 10 of for the same price.
Okay, the 50s obviously will be a lot sharper. Sharpness test. This is at 100%. So on the left it's at f2, and you can see it's sharp enough. I mean, this is 100%. It's not soft. And on the right here it's 2.8. I think I've switched it to. And you can see the comparison there is obvious. A lot more detail in f2.8. So if you wanted sharpness, just shoot at f2.8 on the dial. And you can see that the 1.8S lens is a lot sharper in the center, which you'd expect. Professional S lens. Actually, this is at 2.8 on the Artisan lens. And now they look very similar. So at 2.8 is about the equivalent of 1.8 on the Nikon lens. Yeah, so these are both on f4 now, and you can see the Nikon lens is far superior at 100% without cropping in. You can actually see the colour difference on the Nikon as well. It's a bit brighter, a bit more saturated. But this isn't a soft lens.
No.
I'll say it's sharp enough, especially at 2.8.
Yeah. And I've used them before. It's not all about sharpness, though.
It has a retro feel look to it. Like the images has that kind of vintage because the edges are quite soft, and it has lens faults on it. So
Right.
you've got vignetting, you've got some.
I'm going to pull you up here.
Oh,
There is a G in that word.
where?
Vignette. Vignette. Not vignetting.
Vignetting.
No, it's not vignetting. It's
Is it a
vignette.
silent G?
No, it's not. It's only partly. It's a vignette.
But it's a foreign word.
I don't care what it is. It's a vignette. So the G is
Vignette.
partially vignette. Vignette. You got me at it now. The vignette. It's not a vignette.
Right, okay. So it has, yeah,
That thing where it gets a little bit darker.
with all the edges. It's there. But sometimes you do that with editing anyway to draw it in.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's got just a bit of distortion, the lens flaring, bright lights. But it's okay because it kind of adds to the feel of a vintage lens.
Right.
That's what I got from it. It's not, like edge-to-edge sharpness like a Z-mount lens would be.
It does feel really well made though. That focusing ring is like so smooth.
Yeah.
It is really nice.
I liked it in a way because it's a really long focus throw.
Yeah.
But sometimes if you want a quick focus, you can't do
Yeah.
it. But with this type, if you're doing photography with this lens, you're not going to be after doing quick photography anyway.
And with the Z-mount lenses, because they're like focused by wire effectively, the zoom lens, the focus ring just keeps going anyway, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So it is nice to have something that actually physically is attached to the focusing mechanism, I think.
Yeah. And with focusing, I'm not used to doing manual focusing, but it was fun using the because the easiest way to actually I found is just to crop in on the digital zoom, and then see focusing, and then out again to it. But you can use the what's the other one?
Focus peak.
Focus peaking.
I'm here just to help him, really.
My vocabulary and yeah. So yeah,
Do you find
focus
that
peaking
focus peaking works well?
on and off.
Yeah.
Sometimes it surrounds the object,
Yeah.
but then you look at the photo. You start.
I've noticed when I've used it, I mean, you can see that it tells you where, theoretically tells you what's in focus, but I think sometimes you just got to use your eye.
Yeah.
On my Q2 out on the street, I use a hyperfocal markers and the zoom focusing and the zone focusing, because if you're out shooting from the hip, and if you're out shooting on the street, you're not looking for like shallow depth field. You just want things to be in focus. And like you said, they're continually moving. So I like that about it. So just because manual focus doesn't necessarily mean you can't do anything useful with it. When they've got, none of the Z mount lenses have those hyperfocal marking.
Let's talk about image rendition. So I'll put the colours are a bit more less saturated, but again, does that matter? I mean, I've put side by sides on a little video I sent you, and they're okay. It's fine. You know, it's the colours and renditions I'm happy with. That's not. I don't think that's a dispute with that, which is great because it has the Nikon colours with it, or with the body, I suppose, already. Video. I found the video we're a bit tricky with it because of the focal length. It's a 50. It has a lot of like wobble and shake. But you mentioned a few points about.
So obviously this hasn't got stabilisation built in. The Z6 II does have it built in. And as I understand it, some of the Z mount lenses have it built in and some don't. So, but you would think though, because you tried it on the Z6 II, didn't you? That you might have expected it to be a bit better than it was because of the Z6 II's got stabilisation built into the body, which the ZFC and the Z50 don't. However, if you wanted to use it for video, you could use a gimbal, and this would be really good on the gimbal because it's small and light. Your issue there would be manual focusing. So you'd have to really be using it, you know, f8 or something. Again, probably using the zone focusing, because if you put it on Z8, f8, and you use your markers, then pretty much everything between infinity and just over 2 meters is in focus. So again, you could use it. I agree that it's, you know, if you've got a nice Z mount lens, autofocus, silent action. If you had the F mount, you can't really use those. Exactly. That's very good, that, Russell is doing is
I'm doing sound effects.
imitation of a
I'm
focusing
higher for sound effects.
and it's very cheap, obviously. I see that. It's beautifully made, as far as I can see.
It suits the ZFC really well. Which is.
It looks really funny on a Z8 because it is so tiny, doesn't it?
It looks a bit silly. But on the ZFC, it's really nice. Because of the manual things, it's small and light. That's why, well, it suits the ZFC, but I wish it was wider. So if it was a 35, I think it'd suit the whole.
Do they do a 35?
I'm sure they do. You can always send us one TTArtisan.
We'll try that as well. Try that whole range. But you've got it. I mean, value for money. Was it 70 quid?
£70, I think.
So.
Well, that's who's it for? Who have they built this for? Do you think?
So I think if you've got a Z50 or a ZFC, obviously Z mount, and you want to go out, you want to do some street photography. For me, this would be ideal because I would use it just the same way as I used the Q2. Then I'm out, zone focusing, hyperfocal markers. Doesn't matter if it's a manual lens. It's nice and small and light. It suits the camera, as you said. Apart from that, is anybody, if you just want to get back into the whole, you know, my first camera, because I'm so old, was, you know, autofocus hadn't even been invented. So you just got used to, like, you know, no big deal. You just go point the camera somewhere and focus it. So, you know, if you want to get back to that feel of, you know, being really connected with your photography, something like this is going to help you do that.
I think so. Like I said at the start, with the Z8 and with technology, it does it for you a lot now. You don't even need to press buttons sometimes. So getting back to the art of photography and feel of it, it feels really nice. And it's also for people on a budget, like even for young people starting out, or if you just don't want to spend too much on a lens.
You've got the quality, you've got sufficient quality there, haven't you? So you're never going to be held back by the fact that, you know, like you were saying earlier, if you've got a 70 quid lens like 10 years ago, it's not going to be good at all, is it? You're just not going to use it. But this is absolutely perfectly usable. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a niche lens, isn't it? So if you're in that niche, perfect.
I would like to experiment with a 0.95 lens. So a 35 0.95 lens, I'd love to try one of them. TTArtisan, send us that way.
Have they got 0.95 lenses as well?
I think they do, So there we go. Hope you've enjoyed it.
Has anybody got one? Has anybody tried one? Does it interest you, basically?
But just from our review, does it interest you to get one of these little lenses? I do love little lenses like that, just to travelling around. Of course, for travel as well. This light, you just need it as little light as possible. Okay, that's it. On this episode,
like and subscribe.
Like, no one ever does that based on when they say it. Would you?
Yeah, it's been right behind you the way through.
Oh, no, cat, because you're willing to step back, isn't it?
Yeah. I don't know how she's lived 18 years, honestly.